Admiral Chen Wei stood on the bridge of the UES Prometheus, her weathered hands clasped behind her back as she stared at the tactical display. 3 years of war had carved deep lines around her eyes, but today those eyes held something different. Not fear, not desperation, but cold determination. "Final systems check complete, Admiral," reported Commander Torres from his station. "The planet breaker is ready for deployment." The name still sent chills through the crew. Even humanity's enemies had laughed when they first heard it. Such typical human arrogance, they'd said. The Zephyrian Empire, with their crystalline ships that could slice through asteroid fields, had dismissed it as propaganda. The Vorthan Collective, masters of gravitational manipulation, had called it impossible. Even the ancient keepers, who had witnessed the rise and fall of a dozen species, had declared it beyond the capabilities of these young, savage humans. They weren't laughing anymore. Chen remembered the day the war began, when humanity had sent their first diplomatic convoy to the Galactic Council. Ambassador Rodriguez had been optimistic, carrying gifts of art, music, and scientific knowledge. The response had been swift and brutal. The convoy destroyed Rodriguez's final transmission, cutting off mid-sentence as Zephyrian fighters tore his ship apart. "They view us as vermin," the keepers had explained later, their ancient voices echoing through subspace. "Your species spreads too quickly, adapts too rapidly. You must be contained." Contained, as if humanity were some plague to be quarantined. The war that followed had been devastating. Human colonies burned, their populations scattered to the solar winds. The enemy coalition, Zephyrians, Vorthans, and a dozen smaller species, had superior technology, superior numbers, and the backing of the Galactic Council. Humanity should have been crushed within months. But humans had something their enemies didn't understand: the willingness to do what others wouldn't. "Admiral," Torres spoke again, his voice barely above a whisper. "The Zephyrian command fleet is holding position at Kepler 442b. They're using human prisoners as shields, demanding we surrender." Chen's jaw tightened. She'd seen the intelligence reports. 10,000 civilians from the Proxima colonies, kept in transparent holding cells attached to the hulls of Zephyrian warships. The enemy thought it made them untouchable. They were wrong. "Open a channel to the Zephyrian." "Flagship," Chen ordered. The main screen flickered to life, revealing the insectoid features of Fleet Commander Zekthara. Its mandibles clicked in what passed for amusement among its species. "Ah, the human admiral. Have you come to surrender? Your people look so fragile in their little cages." "I've come to give you one final warning," Chen replied, her voice steady. "Release the prisoners and withdraw from human space. You have 30 minutes. Zekthara's compound eyes glittered. "Or what? You'll throw more ships at us? We've destroyed hundreds of your vessels already." "No," Chen said quietly. "We'll show you why humanity earned its place in the galaxy." She cut the transmission and turned to her weapons officer. "Target Kepler 442b. Not the fleet, the planet itself." The bridge fell silent. Kepler 442b was more than just a Zephyrian military installation. It was their second homeworld, housing 3 billion civilians. But it was also their primary weapons manufacturing center, the source of the crystalline fighters that had been decimating human fleets. "Admiral," Torres said carefully, "the prisoners will die whether we act or not," Chen finished. "The Zephyrians will execute them the moment they realize they've lost tactical advantage. But if we destroy Kepler 442b, we cripple their war machine and save billions of human lives." The choice was monstrous. It was also necessary. "Planet breaker charging," reported the weapons officer. "Quantum cascading field generators online. Graviton compression chambers at maximum." Throughout the ship, massive energies began to build. The planet breaker wasn't just a weapon. It was humanity's answer to superior enemy firepower. Instead of trying to match their technology, human scientists had gone in a completely different direction. They'd built something that didn't just destroy targets. It unraveled the fundamental forces holding matter together. The Zephyrian fleet began to move, finally recognizing the threat. But they were too late. "Fire," Chen commanded. A beam of impossible energy lanced out from the Prometheus, invisible to the naked eye but devastating beyond comprehension. It struck Kepler 442b, and for a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the planet simply stopped existing. There was no explosion, no dramatic fireball. One moment Kepler 442b was there, a blue-green world with sprawling cities and orbital installations. The next moment, there was only empty space, as if the planet had been carefully edited out of reality. The silence that followed was absolute. On every ship in the Zephyrian fleet, alarms screamed as their crews tried to process what they'd just witnessed. A world of 3 billion souls had been erased in seconds, leaving not even debris behind. Chen watched as the enemy formation began to scatter, their discipline finally breaking. She opened communications to all ships in the system, both human and alien. "This is Admiral Chen Wei of the United Earth Fleet," she announced, her voice carrying across the void. "Today you have seen what happens when humanity is pushed too far. We did not seek this war. We offered peace, friendship, cooperation. You chose violence." She paused, letting her words sink in across 100 ships. "Humanity has 47 more planet-breaker cannons under construction. We have the industrial capacity to build 1,000 more. We have identified the homeworlds of every species in your coalition. This is not a threat. It is a statement, a fact." The Zephyrian flagship was already jumping to hyperspace, followed by its escorts. Within minutes, the entire enemy fleet had fled. But Chen knew the real battle was just beginning. Word would spread across the galaxy that humanity had built something unthinkable, a weapon that could delete planets from existence. Some would call them monsters. Others would call them necessary. Chen didn't care what they called humanity. All that mattered was that they would never again underestimate the species from Sol. As the Prometheus turned toward home, she reflected on the price of their victory. 3 billion Zephyrian lives and 10,000 human prisoners who had died with them. The weight of that decision would haunt her forever. But in the depths of space, in the colonies that would now survive, in the children who would grow up, free, there would be humanity's true memorial. They had done the unthinkable to ensure their species' survival. The galaxy would remember this day, and they would never again mistake human compassion for weakness.